Welcome everyone. My name is Jatin Dhawan. I am the North America Marketing Manager for Kellton Tech. Thank you for joining us for our webinar, Mule Runtime Fabric, Key Practices for Driving Automated Easy to Scale Deployments. Before we get started, I need to go over a little bit of housekeeping. Should you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the Q&A section of your control panel and we will address them at the end of the webinar. If we do not have the time to respond to your questions live, we will respond to them via email. As a reminder, this session is being recorded. We will also be sending a link to the recording and the slide deck in the next few days. But before we get started on today's topic, I would like to provide you with a brief corporate overview. Kellton Tech has been a pioneer of digital transformation for the past decade, with operations in North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. Our clients range from startups to Fortune 500 companies, with the core strength supported through our ISO 9001 certification and CMMI Level 5 compliance. We are a 1500 plus employees strong and are a publicly traded company. Kellton Tech is a new age global IT services consulting company. Next slide, please. We design, develop, and operate digital technologies that create new business models for our clients. Our digital services cross 6 major pillars: digital transformation. Our digital services span social, mobile, analytics, and cloud-based solutions. Digital integration provides integration services in support of your digital systems. Digital enterprise enables intelligent enterprises by leveraging end-to-end SAP solutions as a SAP Gold partner. Outsource product development and support services. Digital commerce and marketing delivers omnichannel e-commerce solutions focused on improving the overall customer experience. IoT-enabled platform solutions, IoT solutions for the oil and gas and the manufacturing industries. I am honored to have with me today Murli Polkam and Sadiq Ali. Murli has keen interest in enterprise architecture, solution design, and integration strategy and development. He has demonstrated success in leading and mentoring cross-functional programs in multifaceted environments. Sadiq is solution architect for MuleSoft-based solutions at Kellton Tech. He has years of experience in creating integration solutions and platforms for insurance and financial institutions using DevOps and products from vendors such as MuleSoft. He is renowned for his technical expertise and for his keen ability to design innovative solutions to complex integration problems. Now I will hand it over to Murli to begin our official webinar discussion on Mule Runtime Fabric. Over to you, Murli.
Hey, thank you, Jatin. Thanks for the introduction. Hey, hello, everyone. I appreciate you for taking time to be part of our webinar. Before we go ahead on discussing Mule, I would like to introduce you to Kellton Tech's digital integration services portfolio. Next slide, please. The digital transformation is a journey to reach the ideal state of a digital enterprise. Kellton Tech's strategy and architecture services can help you define your digital goals and objectives and develop a strong digital strategy roadmap and architecture. The digital noise needs to be matched with enterprise IP to deliver monetizable insight for the business. The process optimization, automation, and business activity monitoring is fundamental to digital innovation feedback that help creating case management systems and dynamic applications with RPA. The integration is a killer app of your future digital enterprise. It has been our core strength for more than 2 decades. Performance scale of data and insight is a very fundamental for digital business. Next slide, please. The digital business, which is looking to deliver new digital services, products, and experiences, face a lot of challenges. Additionally, application leaders in charge of integration are under pressure to integrate digital transformation projects involving the cloud, mobility, IoT, and APIs. Many integration platform providers are trying to formulate a coherent integration platform capable of fully supporting multi-cloud service integration requirements. Several are still working hard to consolidate multiple generations of technologies such as ESBs, data integration tools, B2B gateway software, MFT platforms, iPaaS offerings, and API management platforms. They may not yet have reached the optimal combination of functionality and even maturity and production readiness for all the component parts, meaning that the one vendor approach still remains suboptimal. Application leaders in charge of integration are under pressure to reshape their integration infrastructure strategy in order to tackle the new pervasive integration challenges stemming from digital transformation projects that involve the cloud, mobility, the IoT, and API integration. Next slide, please. Let's understand about hybrid integration platform enabling digital enterprises. As many enterprises move from on-premise to cloud-based solutions and redefine who does the integration, the hybrid integration platform is becoming more important in creating a robust forward-looking capabilities model. A hybrid integration platform permits on-premise applications to seamlessly and securely integrate with cloud-based applications. This permits your IT team to quickly track development and improve efficiency and lower the risk factors in accomplishing digital integration. Why hybrid cloud integration? Organizations have redefined their integration strategy to liaison between legacy systems and cloud technologies. Converting to an out and out cloud platform is not a viable solution for all enterprises, nor continuing the on premise legacy systems. Hybrid cloud integration is a perfect pitch for businesses to integrate legacy on premise systems with cloud data. It helps to resolve many of the challenges businesses face when moving to the cloud. Hybrid integration ensures regulatory compliance, security and privacy, fosters innovation, and maximize the investment. Next slide, please. A proper API strategy becomes the vital force for digital transformation and IT reengineering. Kellton Tech's 8-point agenda enables the same. Today's digital business are on a constant journey of digital transformation, innovation, modernization, digitization, and increasing agility. While transforming all interactions between IT applications and digital systems within and outside the organization to API based integration is an obvious step in the right direction to address all the needs. It is very important to formulate and adopt an API strategy at the enterprise level. This will ensure that the entire IT organization and the resources available to it are aligned with the overarching strategic goals and tactical initiatives of the business. The microservices, B2B integration, API monetization, API led connectivity, cloud enablement, application services, and modernization brings in the agility in transforming and modernizing IT systems for digital demand. Most enterprises not born in the digital era have some footprint of legacy IT systems that still support mid office or back office enterprise IT. These IT systems that are non differentiating are quickly replaced by SaaS and move to cloud to optimize operations and cost. But those legacy enterprise systems that do not have a viable option in cloud or SaaS are in a dire need to be modernized and transformed to cater to the new digital demands. Next slide, please. Thank you so much for listening in. I'll hand over to Sadiq, who will take you towards the mule journey.
Thank you, Murli, for a brief discussion about the organization and practices. Here I am Sadiq Ali. I am working as a solution architect in Kellton Tech. Okay, let's talk about the points MuleSoft 4 and Runtime Fabric. Here I am starting with Mule 4 and its enhancement and practices which has been released by MuleSoft. So here we can see a new message is composed of a payload and its attribute, metadata such as file size, variable which hold arbitrary user information such as operation result, auxiliary values. In Mule 3, inbound properties store additional information about payload obtained through a message source such as query parameter coming through HTTP listener attributes in Mule 4 replace inbound properties and have these advantages. These are strongly typed so you can easily see what data is available. They can easily be stored in variable that can access throughout your flow. Certain properties are no longer needed and have been removed in Mule 4 due to the security compliance. Instead, store data in target variables. We can have target parameter. A Mule event contains the core information processed by runtime. It travels through components inside your Mule app following the configuration application logic. Note that Mule event is immutable. So every change to an instance of a Mule event results in the creation of new instance. A mule event is composed to these objects like a mule message, variables, attributes, and its metadata. In Mule 4, data view is the default expression language where events can be routed based on the payload data without requiring conversion to Java objects. Finally, data can easily be queried from an expression anywhere in your flow. For example, where we are doing the logins. Mule 4 standardizes the latest model. The Mule 4 distributes sit with no connectors or models. Instead, each application includes the models it needs. Another important characteristic of error type is that they might have a parent type. For example, HTTP unauthorized has Mule client security as parent. This establishes error types as specifications of more global ones, as HTTP unauthorized error is a kind of client security error, which is a type of more broad security issue. The error handler behaves as we have explained earlier in the example above. Any database connector error are propagated, causing the try to fail and flows error handler to execute. In this case, any other errors will be handled and the try scope will be considered successful, which in turn means that the next person in the flow and the HTTP request will continue executing. Here we are talking about the Mule over thread pool. The main concept into it, when one component is struggling to keep up, the system as a whole needs to respond in a sensible way. It is unacceptable for component under stress to fail catastrophically or to drop message in uncontrolled fashion. Since it can't cope and it can't fail, it should communicate the fact that it is under stress to upstream components and so get them to reduce the load. The back pressure is an important feature mechanism that allows system to gracefully respond to the load rather than collapse under it. The back pressure may cascade all the way up to the user, at which point responsiveness may degrade. But this mechanism will ensure that the system is resilient under load and will provide information that may allow the system itself to apply other resources to help distribute the load like elasticity. Let's go to deep dive in RTF, the runtime fabric, the MuleSoft hybrid deployment practices. Anypoint platform is our main offering and MuleSoft main offering components, that is management plane and runtime plane. For instance, Design Center, API Manager, Exchange are part of management plane wherever customer workload are deployed to runtime plane. That is generally known as runtime plane. API has multiple deployments. The model as we see here in the fit customer need on-premises, private cloud, hybrid, hosted, public cloud as recommended by their own regulatory or the requirements. So where does RTF fit in? The name is kind of giving it up. It is runtime plane is where it belongs. It is designed to be running on-premises and in private cloud environments. Simply speaking, Runtime Fabric runs in customer's data center. So if the customer is interested in an on-premise solution, Runtime Fabric should be in recommendation. Starting with the latest feature, you can now set up request CPU directly in the runtime manager for Runtime Fabric. This enables you to configure CPU bursting by setting up the CPU limit value higher than the request CPU value. CPU request amount is granted to the app. The CPU limit amount is the max to app can use. This allows better use of idle resource to improve start time for application. Important note here, RTF allows one app per container. No resource competition in this recent version. The bursting mode allows user to opt in share compete for resource. Here we can see about the comparison deployment practices in the application that Cloud Hub is providing the load balancing that consists shared load balancing and dedicated load balancing. But here we can see the RTF is provide its inbuilt load balancing capabilities. That is the ingress. And we have the logging capabilities in RTF that is required to be enabled and recommended by the MuleSoft itself. The monitoring is capable in the both the environment and the system will monitor and send the data wherever it can be configured. Object store is not functioning well in the RTF, and it's not recommended in from MuleSoft itself that it vanished once the node is restarted. Okay, security updates is need to be done manually, but it's completely automated and required just one click to perform the update on the RTF installations. Here we can see the what customer needed to have the platform to deploy on their on-premises or their controlled infrastructure. The customer want to deploy runtime on their on-premises must have the three servers for controller and three server for workers. For highly available configuration for production deployments, license is enforced by the total number of cores allocated for application deployments. That is attached with the license which has been enabled by MuleSoft to configure the runtime fabric on customer hosted environment. Okay, the customer who want to have some alternative and the capability of runtime fabric as in Cloud Hub, they can prefer to the runtime fabric to configure and deploy on their on-premises. This separation of responsibilities enables scaling of the worker node based on the number of Mule application. It enables scaling and control nodes based on the frequency of deployments, including the changes in the application state. To ensure resources are available to reschedule and redeploy application in the event of a hardware failure, MuleSoft recommend over provisioning the number of workers in the node for runtime fabric. Only controllers run the internal load balancer and agents they use to connect to any point platform. Agents can run on any controller. Agent communication is always outbound. The minimum requirements for 3 controller and 3 worker nodes. A 3 controller enables a fault tolerant of losing 1 controller. To improve fault controller, to lose 1 controller, a total number of controllers should be configured as number 5. Mule application run on workers. Multiple replicas of application can run across workers. Important note, RTF allows 1 app per container as stated earlier. No resource competition. In the recent version, burstable mode allow user to opt in shared compete for resource. Anypoint Runtime Fabric use a set of technologies, including Docker, Kubernetes, which turn to operate well with the Mule runtimes. Knowledge of these technologies is not required to deploy or manage Mule on Runtime Fabric. Managing Runtime Fabric requires the operational and infrastructure level experience needed to support any system at scale. We recommended following best practice and running drill scenarios in controlled environment to help prepare for unexpected failures. This RTF infrastructure screenshot with detail of instances created on configured on Azure cloud. All steps is configured and given as instructions, that is template based deployment on cloud, that is the Azure or AWS or Oracle clouds. RTF installation process on any cloud platform is similar. Think as it is we are installing on RTF manually. This differences lie in how the infrastructure is built and it supported by MuleSoft. Currently, MuleSoft support automation for AWS, Azure, Oracle, Huawei Cloud, Google Cloud platform. It is in this platform we have to install Runtime Fabric as a manual steps. This RTF infrastructure screenshot with detail of instance created on configured on AWS. Begin with the checklist and planning. It improves significantly the quality of the solution. Do stick with the transform script that is given in the Runtime Fabric installation binary. If you must change anything, ask for advice with MuleSoft professional services. Make sure the hardware requirement for vendor are compliant with the requirement, specifically disk, network, and I/O. To consult platform experts with regard to security and network. Couple of things need to be taken care before installing the platform. Don't change the script in Terraform and its dependencies. Open security group for convenience. Play around in the production Docker shells. These are prohibited and not recommended to be configured or modified by the any user or any resource while installing the platform on AWS. Starting with it, can now set the request limit CPU. Here we can see that for development configuration, we require at least one controller and two workers. That is the prerequisite for to attach your Runtime Fabric environment with Cloud Hub control plane. Moving to the same, we can see that at least 3 controllers are required to attach your production environment with control plane. Each controller and worker should have minimum this capability, which is recommended by MuleSoft to provide the high availability of the platform and infrastructure to control the system. The key factors of the platform here, we need to take care the installation the application, that we have to take care few points which are very important when we are configuring the application or preparing the infrastructure on our on-premises or customer managed environment. We can see here the number of APIs, proxy, TPS requirements, recovery time object, understanding of reserved CPU, or manual or Maven configuration, all need to be very carefully configured or analyzed before moving to the Runtime Fabric to deploy MuleSoft application. These are analytical points which need to be taken care while defining RTF as deployment infrastructure. For instance, for resource scaling, these points are critical. We can see that in Runtime Fabric, a log can be forwarded to any point monitoring or any external logging system. A few scenarios can be taken care like enable and configure Runtime Fabric using Runtime Manager to send logs to Splunk ELK or Azure. Enable to send logs to any point monitoring using Runtime Fabric control plane. Install agent on RTF controller to send logs to Splunk or ELK that is configurable. Runtime Fabric feature a built-in log forwarder that can send data to RSys load server via TCP or UDP. Here we can see about the Runtime Fabric and its configuration and how it works and how it behaves with the MuleSoft application. Let's go and see the demo here. Here we can see that we have to log in our AnyPoint platform where we need to create the runtime environment. We have to register our platform with the runtime environment. Here we have to go to Runtime Fabric and we have to register one runtime fabric. First, we have to register one runtime fabric, and then with the help of the configuration files provided by the MuleSoft, we can install the runtime fabric on our customer managed platform or customer hosted platform, either on cloud or on premises. These are the examples or steps shared by the MuleSoft and recommended by MuleSoft that can be followed, and it is very easy to install the platform on customer managed environment. Here is the activity data which enables the communication between customer installed, customer hosted runtime fabric infrastructure with control plane in AnyPoint platform. For the demo here, we have already configured one runtime fabric that is installed on customer hosted infrastructure. You can see that we have created couple of worker. We have created couple of workers to show demo here, and we have one controller. You can see that. You can see that we have configured the controller and we have configured the worker 1 and worker 2. Here we can see that in application, when we deploy application on Runtime Fabric, few things we have to take care while deploying the application. Although whenever we are deploying application on Runtime Fabric, we have to publish our application in AnyPoint Exchange. Because of that, the question points over here that why we need to release our code to the AnyPoint Exchange. The point over here that whenever it required rollback, the previous working version of working instance of the application, we can roll back with the help of the version control management provided by Runtime Fabric using the AnyPoint Exchange. And the latest version of the deployment you can always see from here, which version is deployed in your Runtime Fabric environment for this application. Okay. Moving here that whenever we are deploying Runtime Fabric in our environment or customer hosted Runtime Fabric, we have to take care that what the configuration number of replicas we want to configure or we want to have in our infrastructure or in Runtime Fabric. Okay, that we can have multiple one. At least we can have 8 instances in Runtime Fabric, and that can be configured. But all it's can be enabled or configured based on the server or based on the instances which we have in Runtime Fabric. Moving to the development model, The rolling update is that rolling update whenever we are performing any upgrade on the platform or in the instance or in the application, the instance runtime fabric will create another instance or another deployment of the application before destroying and the older one. It enables that the high availability of the platform and zero downtime of the runtime fabric installation or deployment for the application exist with this capability. And if we have limited resource, if we want to perform any upgrade in the scheduled time, then or off working hour, then we can go with the recreate. Recreate is the capability that if we are deploying application on our platform or runtime fabric, then it will first destroy the existing deployment and then will create the new instance for the changes which we are asking for or requesting for. Here we can see the CPU allocation. The reserved CPU is that whenever we are deploying application, that CPU will be associated with the instance will be for creating for this application on runtime fabric. And the CPU limit is that maximum CPU this application can ask for the platform is 1.7. But to overcome this scenario, that the bursting scenario, if whenever this application is required for 1.7 CPU and the platform doesn't contain or doesn't have that or free resources for to allocate the application will burst and it will almost will restart again and again because of the unavailability of the server and self-maintained capability in the platform. To overcome this, we recommend to have reserved CPU and the CPU limit should be same, or reserved CPU should be greater than to the CPU limit. And here we can see that memory that can be enhanced to 14 GB based on the requirement, although it's not recommended to have such huge amount of memory to following the ESB practices. But yeah, MuleSoft is providing the capability that can be configured. We are talking about the ingress. Ingress is the component in the runtime fabric that enables the communication and SSL channel from control plane to runtime plane. And to enable this, we have to associate the certificate that with the help of that it communicates with the secure channel with the control plane and runtime plane. And here is the property section where we can configure the application properties regarding properties that we want to overwrite if through the runtime plane, which is associated with the application. And the JVM, we can associate the JVM parameters to provide the more capability or assigning resources for the application or the instance we are preparing for the application. You can see the log forwarder. If we go to the runtime fabric, the log forwarder that can be enabled based on the requirement, or it can be configured from here, or it can be configured with the ops center. This is the control center that controls the controller for the runtime fabric for a specific environment. It contains many features. I'll go one by one. That is, one is the server. We can validate that the number of server associated with it, or we can perform the server. We can add a server with the help of the action we can perform over here. By selecting that, you will get the link and the command and you have to execute this command to add the servers in the your runtime fabric. Here we can see that the audit, we can perform the activities we have been performed on runtime fabric while preparing the infrastructure or setting the environment. The logs, we can check the runtime fabric logs, the application logs, or we can filter out the logs based on the container and pods. Here, going to the monitoring, MuleSoft has enabled user UI-based monitoring capabilities in Runtime Fabric that's enabled with the Op Center. Here we can find out the logs on monitoring capabilities based on our selection or filter criteria which we provided by the MuleSoft over here. We can select with the cluster, we can pods, CPU user, application cluster. All we can find out the behavior of the application or infrastructure or platform based on our selection criteria. We can find out the duration of the logs over here. Moving to the Kubernetes, this is the one of the major part and that controls the infrastructure which we prepared in Runtime Fabric. Here we can see that the nodes we have added here is 34, 35, and 38. Definitely we can see that 30, 34, 35, 38. It's one of them is work as a controller and two is working as a worker. Controller is always to manage the application which we are deploying and worker, applying the policies, health checkup, monitoring, logs, filtering, logs storing, logs forwarding, all managed by the controller itself. Here is the pod we have created. We can see that the application which we have deployed, we can see the pods over there because these are deployed in individual pods. And we can follow the logs into from here from the Op Center. The application logs we can check in the log section over here. That we can filter out the app and we can check the logs in the log section. Sometimes it takes time because of the resource issue, but you can find out the application logs into the log section in Op Center with the help of the filter which we can apply it over here. Okay, moving to the Runtime Fabric deployment and scaling practices and with the help of the control plane in any point platform. Let's go to the application section. We can see that we can deploy one application and we can perform the scaling, vertical and horizontal scaling with that. Firstly, we have to select the application from Exchange. Either we can do the manually, we can use the Maven, or we can use the Anypoint Runtime Manager APIs to perform this operation on the Runtime Fabric with the help of the authentication and authorization practices. Here I am doing manual task to deploy the application on Runtime Fabric. Once it is associated with our control plane, the deployment target list will be populated over here. You can see that the Kellton Tech Mule, this is the Runtime Fabric environment name, is being populated in the deployment target. We have to select here, and then we have to choose the number of replicas or number of resources we have to allocate with the application deployments. We have to go to the ingress. We have to check the properties if required to configure. If not, we have to leave it like here. We have to deploy the application. There is a steps to monitor the deployment. We can monitor from here. We can see that application is being deployed. It will take few moments to deploy. You can see that it's being deployed. Or otherwise, you can go to controller and you can run it with the help of the Gravity. You can validate the states of the deployment through the Gravity. You can see this application has been deployed, is running. Although the status over in the Gravity and the UI takes some time to reflect over here, but you can see it has been deployed. You can see right now only one instance I have configured to deploy over here. So it is only one instance is being has been prepared and being deployed in with the help of control plane in customer hosted runtime fabric environment. Let it be finished. Yeah, you can see that it has been deployed. Now, if we want to perform any change, or we want to redeploy the application again on the with the any update or any change in the process or application or any resource regarding resource, what happened here that the rolling update we have configured, it will behave that it will first create another new instance with the updated information, updated resources, and once the new instance will be ready, then it will destroy the older one. Okay, let's find out how it works. Here I'm deploying another application. I'm deploying an application. I am upgrading the resource. Let me go here and let me add. Let me update here 8 9. You can see here that two version has been updated, and whenever it's required to roll back and the previous deployment or working deployment, we can go over and go from here and can deploy through the configuration changes. That is the feature has been enabled with the help of the Anypoint Exchange. And we can go from here and we can check the status. The new application is being configured and installed in the runtime fabric environment. In few moments, once the ingress will be sure that the application is up and running and capable to accept the request, it will start destroying the older one. You see that in few moments it will start destroying the application. Yeah, you can see that the older one is started has been kicked off from the ingress to remove from the platform and destroy it. Okay, so you can see that it will be destroyed in few moments. It will be removed from the deployments. It is not there now. The same process happens whenever we are performing or upgrading or adding more replicas into the platform. If we are going to add another instance of for the application, we will see that application is the new two instance will be created apart from the existing one. And once the new two instance will be ready to accept the request, then the older existing one will be destroyed by the control from the ingress. Okay, so moving to the next point, the API discovery in runtime fabric. Here you can see that control plane. If we can go to the SAPI and we can check the properties, the same configuration which we are using as a Cloud Hub control plane, we have to follow the same practice. We can configure the properties, the URL, client ID, and secret for the instance of, or for the environment, or for the business users. We can configure. We can enable the API discovery in runtime fabric. That is the practices is being followed in to deploy the runtime application, MuleSoft application in runtime fabric to enable to leverage the capability as we have in Cloud Hub for high availability, for zero downtime, for secure the platform with the provided configuration and the recommendation from the MuleSoft. So this is the MuleSoft demo from For the RTF, uh, Jatin, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Sadik. I have got few questions from the audience. Uh, s- so, the first question is, what subscription is needed to access RTF?
The platinum, the by default subscription we can have as platinum that can be configured, that will enable the runtime fabric, or we can have titanium to enable runtime fabric features on the platform.
Okay. Before I take the next question, I would request the attendees, if you have any more questions, please type it into your Q&A box on your Zoom panel. The other question is, do we need professional services to install Runtime Fabric?
Although MuleSoft already provided the all the instruction and steps to configure and install the runtime fabric on customer managed platform, but if any advisory or any recommendation or best practices need to be consulted, definitely uh, uh, the organization can consult with the MuleSoft professional services.
Okay. The third question is Anypoint Runtime Fabric compatible with PCE?
As of now, this is a private cloud edition. It's not available right now, but MuleSoft is working on that, and they have on their project plan. And as per discussion with MuleSoft, probably they are going to release in 2020 or starting of the 2021.
Okay. There is one question being asked by Brad. Is the DNS naming convention same as Cloud Hub?
No, the application endpoints are determined by the common name of the SSL certificate. If a while value is specified, example mydomain.com, then the application endpoint will be the CN with the wildcard replaced with the application deployment name myapp.domain.com. Otherwise, the application endpoint will default to the CN with the application deployed name as the base path, like mydomain.com/myapp.
Okay. I believe this is the end for the Q&A. Okay. Murli and Sadiq, thank you so much. Only I think this is the time we have for questions. As I mentioned earlier, audience, we will be sending out the recorded version of this webinar in the next few days. That's it from the webinar today. Thank you again for joining us. You have been a fantastic audience. If you would like to start any new conversation, please email us at ask@keltontech.com or visit our website www.keltontech.com for any inquiries or new conversations. Thanks, bye bye, and have a good day.